Hello everyone, I'm Gav, Master974 back again today, and welcome to a follow-up to the Gaming Virtual Machine video. So if you haven't watched the Gaming Virtual Machine video, then I advise you check that out, because some of the stuff I'm going to go over is in response to that. So I'm not really going to cover anything new. The guide is the guide, so it's going to be an hour long, and most of you probably won't be able to follow it, but, you know, just try and stick with it if you can, and if you want to follow it then you can, and if you don't then don't. But I'm going to be going over some things in the video that mostly were in the form of comments to the video. One of the things I want to add is that the reason for this video existing is that I found an Arch Linux guide about how to achieve this whole gaming virtual machine stuff. So that's going to be linked in the description and comments of this video and the original video. So if you want to follow along that as well, you can do. I think I only briefly mentioned that that this is more of like a terminal-based guide without using the graphics interface. So you might hear some people say, you know, if you're using Linux, you have to use a terminal all the time. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can do. It goes through stuff slightly differently, like using huge pages, I think it is, to allocate memory and stuff like CPU tuning and all that kind of stuff. I don't go over that, but if you want to go through it, you can do. There's plenty here for you to look at if you wish to. So that is number one, addendum number one, after I did the video recording. And number two is that some of the comments I got were, well, does this guide work for this piece of equipment that I have? And all I can really say to that is do the research. And I don't mean to be a dick about that, but you know, if you have a graphics card and you know what the make and the model is, you know what processor you've got, you can just Google search it, look into the details, and that can tell you if it has, for instance, you know, dedicated graphics for the processor, or I don't know about the graphics card being IOMMU supported, but if it's a modern gaming graphics card, then it should be. And in the case of like having two dedicated GPUs, then I think it should work, because you should be able to pass one through to the VM and the other one you can use for Linux. But at the same time, I'm kind of thinking that NVIDIA drivers or AMD drivers will try and take a hold of it at boot up, so then that's not going to really work. But you can feel free to experiment with it, and hopefully it does work. And if it does work, you can, you know, say in the comments, oh yeah, this works. So then other people can know it for future reference that, yeah, if you have two dedicated graphics cards, then you can follow this guide. Or there's some workaround you have to employ to get it to work, right? So that is the two addendums that I want to add is, one, there's an Arch Linux guide that you can follow if you really want to. It's kind of complicated and definitely not what I did, but you can still follow it if you want to. And number two is, if you're asking if it works on your kind of equipment, then I don't know. Alright, I only have my gaming PC and I know it works on my system. I guess the whole point of this would be for experimentation, for fun, right? To see if it works, and if it doesn't, then it doesn't, and if it does, it does, right? It's for the fun of doing it. For instance, I got a gaming laptop over there. You might have heard the fans going on it. I really don't know if you would have, but that would be one where the graphics cards, you know, the dedicated graphics and the internal graphics are kind of intertwined, like a hybrid. And you won't be able to go through the, you know, graphics card separation part, because the graphics cards are like this. You know, you're not going to separate this, right? It has to be like that. It has to be separate completely, not intertwined in any way. So I don't think the whole gaming virtual machine thing would work on a gaming laptop, quite honestly, unless you know for a fact that you put a isolated dedicated graphics card in there, which you probably wouldn't have. But on a desktop gaming PC like I've got, and you can clearly see there's a graphics card in there, and you know what processor you have, and you know that has its own onboard graphics, then you can follow this guide. I just want to add that at the start of the video, and then I'll go through all of the other points for the video. I'm not going to go over every single comment. I did do a trial version of this video, you know, earlier in November, and it was just going to read through the comments, but I respond to most of the comments anyway, so it's not like I need to go over the comments again. But one of the things that I want to go over and emphasize right from the get-go is that in the introduction I do specify that you do want to install Linux with the display output being the non-PCI option. That is very important, because there are a couple of comments saying that essentially people got stuck in an infinite boot loop, because when you go, one of the steps is that you isolate your dedicated graphics card, and people were getting stuck in an infinite boot loop because they would have installed Linux and the display output would have been the PCI option. The PCI option is your dedicated graphics card. So if you have more than one dedicated graphics card, then you'll probably see 2 PCI options. But if you have an onboard or internal graphics card, then it's not going to say PCI. In my case, I think it's IGFX. So it's important that you set it to that. And in my case, with 2 monitors that you can clearly see, as you can see in the background here in my mirror, that you can just switch from PCI to IGFX, and the motherboard BIOS that flashes when you turn your PC on, that's going to go from one monitor to the other monitor. So that's how you know that works, and you just want to install Linux when it's gone to the other monitor display that's not your dedicated graphics card. And one of the things as well, I did get an upgrade for my PC, an RTX 2080 Super, and the process still applies when you isolate your dedicated graphics card. So you still want to go into like your IOMMU groups, and I do type in the modules bit, I do type IOMMMU. That's wrong. It's just supposed to be 2 M's in IOMMU, and I believe I'm also wrong with where I say it's VFIO_VIRQFO. It's actually supposed to be VFIO_VIRQFD. And the reason I say that is because I did find a link in my research to an Arch Linux guide that goes over essentially this entire process. It just does it more in the terminal format than the graphics format that I do. So it says crystal clear, it's supposed to be VIRQFD. So that's an update on that bit. Does it change anything? Not really. So it's not like it's a massive change, but it's just a correction, right? And that's the purpose of this video, is to correct some of the information. So there's that as well. And one of the things I want to add as well with the RTX 2080 Super arguments, I keep touching the microphone. I'm so sorry if that's causing audio peaks. But there's a couple of extra things you need to add. I think there's something like a USB controller, which I don't know if there is a USB on the RTX 2080 Super that I've got. But I'll just pass that through anyway, just because you want to pass through all of the graphics card stuff, because you want to get 100% dedicated graphics card usage in your virtual machine. That's why we're doing this. So if you're testing the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds ransomware, then you want to be able to have the graphics card that is able to play PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and have decent processor power and decent memory throughput and all that good stuff, right? So that's why we're doing this. Now, I did see someone in the comments, but they deleted the comment, so this is all hearsay. You have to take my word on this. But they basically linked to a guide that talks about how you can make your virtual machine not know it's a virtual machine by changing your processor settings. But the one thing that does is it changes the processor pass-through to the virtual machine, and that begins to deviate away from the gaming virtual machine setup that I show you. So essentially, one of the things it ends up saying is that you have 2 sockets, and that's just not true. You don't have 2 sockets, you only have 1. So I didn't test that for the gaming stuff, but I could imagine that would have negative consequences for the gaming stuff. So the whole end of the video, how I say, I don't know how to make the virtual machine not know it's a virtual machine and still have it capable of gaming, is still up in the air. So if you have any ideas of how to fix that, then leave comments in this video to say how to fix that, so then I can do another follow-up to this, going over those guides to say that's how you fix it, right? So that's the situation there. That's still up in the air at the moment. But yeah, I thought I'd just emphasize the whole make sure that you install Linux when your display output is set to the non-PCI option. That's a very important step, otherwise you get stuck in an infinite boot loop, and you don't want that, because then you have to reinstall Linux or completely uninstall Linux from wherever you installed it to. That's not going to be good. Yeah, there's 2 M's in IOMMU, not 3, as I show in the video. It's VFIO_VIRQFD for one of the steps in the /etc/modules bit. And yeah, I don't know how to make the virtual machine not know it's a virtual machine. But with the steps I show you, it does actually, allow you to install NVIDIA drivers, which is a good thing. So it's weird how Windows knows it's a virtual machine, but NVIDIA doesn't. So that's pretty much the state of the follow-up video. Of course, feel free to leave your comments on this video if you come from the Gaming VM video and you know, there's something I say or something I don't say and you feel like it's worth, you know, saying. Or if you're going to go to the Gaming VM video, then keep in mind of the steps that I'm bringing up here, because they're important when you go to watch that video. I don't know if I explain it well enough. I don't know if I go too far with it. I don't know. But, you know, it is what it is. And I did want to do this follow-up video when that video hit 10,000 views, which it did. So thank you very much for that. Of course, like, share, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff. I hope to see you soon for the next video. Yeah, I don't know what it's going to be, but you know what? Me and James have played Super Mario Galaxy on the 3D All-Stars collection, and I'm probably going to start uploading that. There are some good fails in this collection, let me tell you, that me and my brother have done. So, yeah, that's probably going to be the next set of videos, another 12 parts of that. But anyway, take care out there, peace out, and see you next time.